everyone, and thanks for joining me. I have a sewing tutorial for you today. We haven't done one of those in a little bit. And today's project, I was thinking of back to school, and I came up with this super cute little pencil pouch. So this has got grommets in it so that you can stick this right into a 3-ring binder. If you don't want to do that, you can also just leave this step out and you'll still have the pencil pouch. But these are perfect to put into the school binders and put your pencils, your pens, scissors, stick-it notes, anything like that, paper clips, anything that you might need to have in your binder for school. So I thought these were a lot of fun. I'm using some colored vinyls. I will link some in the description below the video, but you can also use clear vinyl. Keep in mind, like the packaging that bedding comes in, that's perfect for these projects. I wouldn't recommend going less than about a 12 gauge. You can also buy the clear vinyls at Joann's, places like that. I think even Walmart has the clear vinyl by the yard. So a little bit goes a long way. So let's take a look at what we need for this project. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric. I'm just using a cotton woven. It is cut to 4 inches by 9 inches. Now, if you wanted to add vinyl or a leather or something like that in place of the top strip, you could do that, but you would only need about a 1-inch wide strip because you wouldn't need to fold the raw edges in like we're going to be doing. But I'm going to be using the cotton fabric. That's what I'm going to be showing in the video. You're going to need 2 pieces of 12 gauge vinyl. You can find this, I will link it in the description below, but you can find this at Joann's. You can find it online at several places. Even using like plastic bedding. This is a 12 gauge. I wouldn't go much thinner than that because we are going to put the grommets in it. You want it to last. But you're going to need 2 of those cut to 8.5 by 6. So they're 8.5 wide by 6 inches tall. And then you want a coordinating zipper. You can use whatever you want. You need at least 9-inch zipper. These are optional. You have a stick of Elmer's school glue. I like to use this. Works really well. Or you can use the double-sided sticky tape. Also a great option. I'm going to use a bone folder. You need something to turn your corners out. Might want some wonder clips, and then you're going to need 2 sets of grommets. Each grommet comes with 2 separate pieces, a front and a back. You'll need 2 fronts and backs. And then you either need a table press and dies to attach your grommets, or you can use the little hand set that comes in the kit. I'll try to show you both in the video. So that's what you need. Let's go over to the sewing table and we'll get started stitching. First thing we need to do is make sure that our vinyl is nice and smooth. That's going to make it easier to sew with. So what I like to do is just press my surface, my ironing surface. I've got steam in the iron. I'm going to get it nice and warm, and then you just lay the vinyl over the top, and that will help any wrinkles come out of it. And you can see it just comes out very, very nice and smooth. It gets really soft and pliable when it gets warm, so make sure you don't stretch it. Just lay it on there and help flatten it out. The next thing we need to do is prepare our fabric. I've already prepared this one, but we're just going to basically make it into a little binding strip. So what we need to do is I'm going to take my Elmer's glue stick and I'm just going to run just a little bit of glue right along those short edges only. Doesn't take much. And then I'm just going to fold them in about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to fold 1 in first. And I'm just going to press it to set it. If you're not familiar with Elmer's glue stick, is basically a starch. So it's safe for sewing. Once you heat it and it'll come out in the wash. It's not going to hurt anything. But I like to use it. It just makes things really easy. So once you've got one end folded up, take one of your pieces of vinyl and just measure. This should be exactly the same length. So before you fold that other one in and just guess, try to make it about the same length. So I know that's how much that one needs to be folded in. And then I'm going to set that one. It just takes a second. So it's going to look something like that. All right, so now we're going to make a traditional binding piece. So you're going to fold it in half, give it a quick press. So now we know where the center point is by our crease. You're going to fold your raw edge in to that center. And same thing on the other side. Once you've got that done, you're going to fold the whole piece in half, and you've just created basically a binding piece. That's what we're going to use for the top of the unit. So when it's done, it looks like this. Whoops. It's going to look like that. So you've folded both of your center pieces in, and then you folded it in half and you pressed it, and you've got finished edges on the end because we folded those corners in. So once you've got that done, the next step is to sandwich the middle of this into your plastic, just like that. What I like to do to make this a little bit easier is use this double-sided tape. You can also use the glue stick. Either one works just fine. So I'm going to put it on the folded edge on the inside of my fabric on one side. So here's my binding piece. Get it folded back up. That's my binding piece. So I open it up and I just put the tape on one side. All right, so I'm going to release the paper, and I'm just going to place my plastic in there so that it goes right up to the center of the binding, nice and even, and press it down so it looks like that on one side. And you want to make sure that you try to get it up there as far as you can up to your crease piece. Once you have that in place, you can go ahead and add some more double-sided tape to the opposite side. And we're going to fold that down. So it looks like that. So we've got a finished edge here. We've got finished edges on the bottom, just like that. Don't worry if your plastic is sticking out just a little bit. It really doesn't matter. You can trim it off if it bothers you. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing to this one, and this time we'll just use the glue stick. I'll just show you how that works. So again, I'm just going to take the glue stick, I'm going to run it on my fabric, both sides, and this time we're going to use that to sandwich our plastic. So again, you're just going to line it up with that center. Oops. Then fold this side down. Just like so. Press it down. So we've got it. You can use it, like I used double-sided tape on this one and the Elmer's glue stick on this one. I do think the double-sided tape works a little bit better, but either one will work. So the next thing we're going to do is sew a top stitch on this bottom edge, about 1/8 of an inch away on both pieces. We're going to backstitch at the beginning and the end just to make sure that it is in place, it's not going to move, and I'm going to put mine at a stitch length of about a 3.5. And I'm going to backstitch. So it's going to look like that. Go ahead and trim up any threads. We're going to repeat it on this one. So there you have it. So we've got both of our pieces stitched down. You want to make sure that you caught it on the front and the back. In good shape. Trim up any threads. Okay, so I have a zipper much longer than I need, and that's just fine. So I'm going to place my zipper down on my work surface, and I'm going to take a piece of my double-sided tape about the length of the panel, which is 8.5 inches. And I'm just going to place it on the edge, the outside edge of one side of my zipper. Just like that. All right. Push it down, remove your tape, the paper part. You're going to take one of your panels. If there's a side that you want to be the front or the back, based on your pattern or your sewing, whatever, go ahead, put the top so it's facing up, and you're just going to place that very evenly along that tape. So it looks like that. And now I'm going to stitch this down up as close to the edge as I can get comfortably, probably about 1/8 of an inch or so. It doesn't have to be exact. And we're going to stitch this down. Now you should use a zipper foot. You don't have to have a Teflon foot on this part, but a Teflon foot really helps when you're sewing on top of the plastic. It kind of glides over it. If you don't have a Teflon foot, I would recommend putting a piece of Scotch tape over your regular foot, and that will help it not stick to the vinyl. Also, if you're finding that the vinyl is sticking to your machine, you can take a piece of like gift wrapping tissue paper, place that on your machine, and even stitch through it. It'll rip right off when you're done, but that will keep it from sticking to your machine. I don't find this is too bad. I do use this Teflon foot. So I'm going to put my stitch on a 2.5, and we're going to stitch this zipper down. All right, so my zipper is secured on that side. Now I want to make a matching panel on the other side. So I'm going to place this down like this. I'm going to use another piece of tape, approximately the length of the zipper. It doesn't have to be exact. I like it to be just a little bit shorter. Make sure I keep that tape on the outer edge of the zipper. You don't want it to show when you're finished, so keep it towards the edge. And then release your tape. Then again, if there's a side you want to be the front, that should be facing up. Mine look about the same, and the birds are on both sides, so you just want to line it up. Try to keep the fabric lined up with the fabric on the other side for the best results. Push it down. And again, we're going to top stitch that zipper down right along that edge. So it should look something like this. So now what we want to do is we're going to pull the zipper pull so that it's inside our fabric boundary, like that. And then we're going to hold this zipper together and do a stitch right across that, right where the fabric ends. So just somewhere in that first 1/8 of an inch or so from the edge, we're just going to close that zipper up. So I'm just stitching across the zipper and then back stitching a few times. And that's just going to make sure that we don't accidentally pull that zipper pull off. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing. We just did that one. Now we're going to do the same thing down here. Don't make sure the zipper pulls up here somewhere and stitch this part closed so the zipper's closed. So you can see I've closed the zipper on both the top and the bottom. So now you can take your scissors and just trim away the excess. So it looks like that. Now what you want to do is fold it in half. This is the outside. Here's your zipper pull. So you're going to fold it in half so that's on the inside. And you're going to match up your fabric ends and put a clip in it. Same thing on this side. So I'm matching up that fabric. I'm going to put a clip in it. And then you want to push your vinyl out. If things have shifted and one side's a little longer than the other, it's perfectly fine, but you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And then go ahead and clip your two short sides just to help you hold everything in place. And you can use as many or as little clips as you want. So it looks like this. You're just going to start right here on this end, and you're going to start with a small little back stitch, a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to stitch all the way down and off the end, back stitch again, just to lock the stitch in place. So just a little 1/4 inch seam across this short side. Same thing on this end. Start here on the zipper side and work your way down. Now I'm going to move my stitch length to, it's still at a 2.5. That'll be fine. So it looks like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this end. All right, so once you have the 2 short sides sewn only, I need to trim a thread there. You want to reach inside and open your zipper all the way. So now it's a cylinder. The other thing you want to do is I would take a look at it. If your edges are not straight, and it's very easy for things to shift or for this stuff to be hard to cut straight, you can trim it up so that everything is perfectly straight on the bottom. It's just going to make things neater. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I just trimmed mine up so that this edge is clean. Again, it's still open on the bottom. So now you're going to stitch this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Again, back stitching at the beginning and the end. Go all the way off both ends. So it should look something like that. Now we're going to trim off this little corner. You want to make sure that you don't cut where the seams crisscross, but just cut that corner off. Same thing here. And you're going to do the same thing up here. Just cut into that zipper and all that bulk right there, just a little bit, just to help get some of that bulk out of the corner. Trim up any threads. All right, so it looks like this. Your zipper's open, so now what we can do is reach inside. I like to reach all the way down to the corner and start turning this right side out. And it's going to be kind of difficult to turn right side out, but we're going to use that hot iron on the mat again and make this more pliable to help us finish turning it out. Make sure you get up in that zipper that it's turned out. And you want to try to get these corners nice and pushed out. And it seems really hard, but I do as best I can, just like this. And then I'm going to put my finger inside. And you might want to use your bone folder. I'll probably use that here in a second. But to get it as straight as I can with just my finger, and then I'm going to start heating up my ironing surface. I'm going to put this down. That's going to warm it up and make it real soft so that I can get that pushed out. I might have to do it a couple times. The warmer this vinyl gets, the softer it gets. So I'm going to use my bone folder now. I've got this nice and hot. I'll put this down. And be careful you don't poke through it, because it is plastic. You can poke a little bit too hard. And then we're going to do the same thing on this corner. So try not to poke all the way through it, but if you do, just turn it right side out again and do another stitch. All right, so once we've got it turned out, let's go ahead and do our surface one more time and get this all nice and smooth from the turn. Now we're ready to install the grommets. So here's our finished pouch. So what I did, I just took a piece of notebook paper so that I would know where the holes go to fit in a traditional. Distance from one hole to the other is about 4¼ inches. But what I did was just use this as a guide. Kind of set it on my mat. Let's see, it'll be easier to go this way so you can see. And I'm working in that bottom inch of space, so I'm going to kind of flatten this out. And again, this is a pencil pouch. I wasn't too worried about it being exact, but it's almost 1.25 inches from each edge if you made it the size I did. Once you have where your holes need to be, I just use a pen or a straight pen, marker, something that's going to show up. I don't know if this chalk pencil is going to show up or not. So I have some faint marks where it needs to be. Like I said, you can even put a straight pen through there just to be cut. I mean, we're going to end up cutting it out. So that will just make things easy. So the first thing we have to do is punch our holes. So I have this die set. I will link all of this in the description below. If you happen to have a table press, that's how we're going to do it first. And then I'll show you how to do it by hand. So you're going to put the top die in the top. This is the bottom die. It just sits in the side. Give you a look. So there's my top die. There's the bottom die. All right, I'm just going to line up my hole. And we're just going to punch a hole right in our mark. And you can see it made a hole right in there. That's for a grommet. We're going to do the same thing on the other one. And we have another hole. So our holes are made. Done with the holes. So we are going to pull the dies out for that. These are strictly for hole punching. And then to set the grommets, it has a different set of dies. You have these two. This one goes in the top. You can always tell which one goes in the top because it has the little threads on the top that screw in. So that one goes on the top, and this one that goes on the bottom looks like this. These just slip right inside the hole down here. So I just drop that in. All right, so now you're gonna take, this is the front of the grommet, the piece that looks like this. That's the front of your grommet. And then there's a flatter piece, that's the back. So you're gonna take the front, and again, I want my zipper on the left, so this is going to be my front. You're gonna put the front inside, turn it over, put the back on, and you put the back so that the smooth side is face up, the little kind of ridge in the cup is face down towards the vinyl. So it just slides right over like that. Put it on the press with the back side up. It slips right over that little die. You can see that. Get that lined up. So it fits right over that little die. And now our grommet is in place. So I will do the other one by hand to show you the difference. I went ahead and added the other grommet with the regular with the table press, and I'm just going to show you how to do this one on a little scrap piece. So this is a little kit. I will link this in the description below. It comes with everything you need. So the first thing you get is this is your hole punch, and then this is your setting tool for the grommet. So this is your hole punch. So pretend this is your bag. And we're just going to put this on there, and then this is where we want our hole. So you put the hole down. It comes with the little hammer. You're going to give it a pretty swift tap, and it will poke your holes out. So there's our hole for the grommet. Then you're going to take one of your grommets. I'll just use one of the silver ones. And again, you have two different pieces. You have this piece, and then you have the flat ring, which is the back. So you're going to put the front through the holes, flip it over, put the back so the smooth side is face up. So once you have the front and the back on, you're going to take this little piece, you're going to put it face up. I'm looking at the back of my snap. We're just going to lay that. It fits right inside that, just like so. You're going to take this piece, you're going to stick that down in the circle. And again, we're going to give it a good whack. And then your grommet will be set. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed these cute little project bags. These are such a great way to store things, not only for a back to school binder to put your pencils and paper clips and things like that in, but think about things in your craft room. You could use these little split rings like this, the kind that just come apart when you open them like this. Clip those together. You might want to get a little bit bigger ones, but you clip them together, and then you've got a convenient storage for things like your wonder clips, your seam rippers, your bobbins, things like that. You could have them all right here, ready to go in their own separate pouch. It's zippered, it's closed, you can see what's in it very easily. Great way to store things in your craft room. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do have everything I could think of linked in the description below the video, but if I left anything out, don't hesitate to leave me a comment and let me know. Thanks so much for watching. As always, never stop making. See ya. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to click that bell.